There is a comforting idea that most people never stop to consider. While you sleep, while your breathing slows and your thoughts loosen their grip, the universe does not hurry. Nothing suddenly accelerates, nothing panics, nothing tries to arrive early. The universe moves exactly as it always has, quietly, patiently, and without urgency. This is not poetry, it is not metaphor, it is structure. Every star, every orbit, every slow-turning system follows rules that do not care about clocks, deadlines, or expectations. These rules existed long before the first human thought, and they will remain long after the last one fades. And yet, they are gentle, predictable, almost calming if you learn how to notice them. Tonight, we are not here to chase excitement or discovery. We are here to rest inside understanding. Imagine for a moment that nothing in the universe is in a hurry, not the planets, not the stars, not even the galaxies drifting across vast distances. Everything moves because it must, but never faster than necessary. This is the first quiet rule. Rule 1. Motion without urgency. Motion exists everywhere, yet urgency exists nowhere. The Earth spins beneath you right now at over 1,000 kilometers per hour, yet you feel none of it. The planet orbits the sun at an even greater speed, and still your body remains at rest. This is not because the motion is small, but because it is steady. Steady motion becomes invisible to the mind. The universe understands this principle deeply. Nothing jerks, nothing lunges forward. Even the most dramatic events unfold with an underlying calm. Stars burn their fuel over billions of years. Orbits repeat patiently. Systems correct themselves gradually without panic. Urgency is a human invention. The cosmos does not recognize it. While you sleep tonight, planets will not rush to complete their paths. Moons will not hurry to rise or fall. Gravity will not suddenly increase its grip. Everything continues, slow, predictable, dependable. There is a profound comfort in realizing this. You are not required to keep anything moving. Rule 2. Balance is always restored. The universe does not cling to perfection. It allows imbalance, but only temporarily. When a system drifts too far in one direction, forces emerge naturally to guide it back. This is not enforcement, it is equilibrium. A planet pulled too close to its star will eventually adjust or break apart. A system stretched too wide will contract. Energy spreads, redistributes, softens extremes. This rule applies everywhere. Stars form when matter gathers too densely. They fade when that density is released. Galaxies stretch and settle. Even chaos is not permanent. It is simply a transition toward balance. While you sleep tonight, balance continues without effort. No conscious correction is required, no oversight, no intervention. The universe does not struggle to stay stable. Stability is its default state. If something can rest, it will. Rule 3. Nothing happens all at once. Human anxiety often comes from compression, the fear that everything will happen now, immediately, without warning. The universe does not operate this way. Changes unfold slowly enough to be absorbed. Collisions between galaxies take hundreds of millions of years. Orbits decay over unimaginable spans of time. Even the death of a star is a long, gradual surrender before the final release. There are no sudden endings on cosmic scales. While you sleep, nothing meaningful will suddenly collapse. No universal shift will demand your attention. No cosmic deadline approaches. Everything arrives in layers, in stages, with time to adjust. This is why the universe feels safe when you truly understand it. Rule 4. Silence is not emptiness. Space appears silent, dark, empty, but it is not inactive. Silence is simply motion without noise. Between stars, particles drift gently. Energy flows invisibly. Fields extend, overlap, and resolve. Nothing shouts, nothing interrupts. Silence is how the universe communicates stability. While you rest, silence surrounds you in the same way. Your body does not stop functioning because it is quiet. Your heart does not pause. Your lungs do not forget their rhythm. Silence is not absence, it is trust. Rule 5. Repetition creates calm. The universe repeats itself endlessly. Day follows night, orbits close into themselves. Cycles return to their starting points again and again. This repetition is not boredom, it is reassurance. Repetition removes uncertainty. When something happens the same way every time, it becomes safe to ignore. Your body understands this instinctively. Repetition allows relaxation. The universe repeats because repetition works. Nothing surprises gravity. Nothing shocks time. Everything moves along paths that have been tested for billions of years. Tonight is not new to the universe. Sleep is not new. Stillness is not new. You are participating in something ancient and reliable. Settling into the pattern. As this section comes to rest, notice what has not happened. Nothing has rushed. Nothing has demanded. Nothing has escalated. This is intentional. The universe does not escalate. In the next section, we will drift deeper into the forces that hold everything together without effort, without awareness, and without noise. We will explore how gravity, time, and structure cooperate quietly so that rest is possible everywhere. For now, allow your breathing to follow the same rule as the universe: slow, even, unconcerned with arrival. Everything is already where it needs to be. Rule 4. Silence is not emptiness. Space appears silent, dark, empty, but it is not inactive. Silence is simply motion without noise. Between stars, particles drift gently. Energy flows invisibly. Fields extend, overlap, and resolve. Nothing shouts, nothing interrupts. Silence is how the universe communicates stability. While you rest, silence surrounds you in the same way. Your body does not stop functioning because it is quiet. Your heart does not pause. Your lungs do not forget their rhythm. Silence is not absence, it is trust. Rule 5. Repetition creates calm. The universe repeats itself endlessly. Day follows night, orbits close into themselves, cycles return to their starting points again and again. This repetition is not boredom, it is reassurance. Repetition removes uncertainty. When something happens the same way every time, it becomes safe to ignore. Your body understands this instinctively. Repetition allows relaxation. The universe repeats because repetition works. Nothing surprises gravity. Nothing shocks time. Everything moves along paths that have been tested for billions of years. Tonight is not new to the universe. Sleep is not new. Stillness is not new. You are participating in something ancient and reliable. Rule 5. Scale makes worry small. Your thoughts operate on minutes and hours. The universe operates on eras. This difference in scale dissolves pressure. What feels heavy to you does not register at cosmic distances. What feels urgent does not echo beyond your immediate awareness. This is not dismissal, it is perspective. The universe does not minimize you,
It simply does not magnify stress. While you sleep, your worries remain exactly where they belong: local, temporary, and manageable. They are not carried outward. They do not disturb the stars. Rule 7. Nothing is watching you fail. There is no universal audience, no scoreboard, no evaluation, no judgment. The universe does not observe performance. It observes existence. Stars do not succeed or fail. Planets do not accomplish goals. They simply continue. You are allowed the same permission. While you rest, nothing expects anything from you. Settling into the pattern. As this section comes to rest, notice what has not happened. Nothing has rushed. Nothing has demanded. Nothing has escalated. This is intentional. The universe does not escalate. In the next section, we will drift deeper into the forces that hold everything together without effort, without awareness, and without noise. We will explore how gravity, time, and structure cooperate quietly so that rest is possible everywhere. For now, allow your breathing to follow the same rule as the universe: slow, even, unconcerned with arrival. Everything is already where it needs to be.
There is a force shaping everything around you right now that has never once announced itself. It does not vibrate, it does not flash, it does not demand attention, and yet, without it, nothing would stay where it belongs. This force is gravity, and it is the quiet architect of calm. While you sleep, gravity does not sleep. It does not adjust its tone. It does not grow impatient. It simply continues. Gravity does not chase, it waits. One of the most misunderstood ideas about gravity is that it pulls aggressively. In reality, gravity is patient. It does not reach outward like a hand grabbing. It creates a presence so consistent that everything naturally settles into it. Planets do not fight gravity, they cooperate with it. The Earth does not cling desperately to the Sun. It follows a path shaped gently over time. Even objects falling toward the ground do not rush. They accelerate smoothly, predictably, without sudden intent. Gravity never panics. It never snaps. It never surprises. Urgency does not exist in gravity's vocabulary. This is why gravity feels safe. Why you feel heavy, and why that's comforting. The sensation of weight is often misunderstood as burden, but weight is actually reassurance. Weight means you are held. Your body rests against the surface beneath you because gravity keeps you there. You do not need to grip the bed. You do not need to anchor yourself. The planet does that work for you. Gravity allows surrender. When you lie down, you are not falling endlessly through space. You are supported by a force that has been holding oceans, mountains, and atmospheres for billions of years. It will not forget you tonight. The slow language of orbits. Look outward for a moment. Moons circle planets, planets circle stars, stars circle galactic centers. These movements are not frantic. They are smooth, repeating arcs traced patiently over time. An orbit is gravity's handwriting. It is the universe choosing curves over collisions. If gravity were loud, orbits would collapse. If it were harsh, paths would fracture. Instead, gravity speaks softly, and everything listens. This softness is not weakness, it is precision. Nothing falls forever. Another quiet rule: nothing falls endlessly unless balance is lost. Objects fall only until they meet resistance, structure, or orbit. Gravity does not punish, it guides. Even when stars collapse under their own weight, the process unfolds slowly, layer by layer over immense time.
Even black holes, often imagined as violent, are formed through gradual surrender. The universe prefers descent over collapse. This is why you can relax into sleep without fear of sudden unraveling. Everything around you is already arranged into stable relationships. The weight of time. Gravity does more than hold matter. It shapes time. Where gravity is stronger, time slows slightly. Where gravity is weaker, time flows a little faster. This is not metaphor, it is physics. Near massive objects, moments stretch gently. You could say gravity creates pockets of patience. While you sleep, time itself softens around you. The night does not rush forward. The hours do not snap into morning. Gravity holds time the way it holds planets, with calm restraint. Why gravity never gets tired. Gravity does not expend energy to exist. It is not a muscle. It does not fatigue. It is simply part of how the universe is structured. This matters. It means nothing has to try to keep you grounded. No effort is being spent. No resource is being trained. Gravity does not need rest, so you can take it. Stillness is a shared agreement. Everything around you agrees to remain where it is. The walls do not drift. The floor does not float away. The air does not escape upward. This agreement is gravity's quiet success. Because of it, the world becomes predictable. Predictability allows rest. You do not need to monitor your environment. You do not need to stay alert. The universe has already negotiated stability. Even motion feels like rest. Although the Earth spins and moves constantly, gravity ensures that motion feels like stillness. You are traveling through space at extraordinary speed right now, and yet your body experiences rest. This is gravity's gift. Movement without disturbance, progress without strain. The universe knows how to move without waking you. Letting the body imitate the cosmos. As your breathing slows, notice how naturally it aligns with gravity. Inhale rises gently. Exhale settles downward. Your body follows the same curve as planets and moons. No sharp angles, no sudden stops, just descent into comfort. Gravity does not force this, it invites it. A thought to carry forward. If gravity were loud, the universe would feel dangers. If it were inconsistent, rest would be impossible. But gravity is quiet, reliable, ever-present. It does not need your attention to function, which means you do not need to stay alert. In the next section, we will explore time itself and why it unfolds slowly enough to allow sleep, memory, and peace to exist at all. For now, allow gravity to finish the sentence it began billions of years ago. You are held. You are stable. Nothing is slipping. Let yourself rest inside that certainty.
Time was never in a hurry. Time has never chased you. It has never demanded that you keep up. It has never shouted that you are late. It has never pushed you forward with urgency. Those sensations come from elsewhere. Time itself moves differently. Time is not a line, it is a field. We often imagine time as a straight line, past behind us, future ahead, now as a thin edge we must balance on. But in reality, time behaves more like a landscape. You do not rush across a landscape unless something compels you to. You move through it at the pace your body allows. The universe does not experience time as minutes ticking. It experiences duration, long, wide stretches where change happens slowly, almost imperceptibly. Stars take millions of years to shift position. Planets require centuries to alter their paths. Galaxies evolve over billions of years. Urgency does not exist at that scale. Why the night feels longer than the day. At night, fewer events compete for your attention, less input reaches your senses, the mind stops jumping. This is not because time slows, but because you finally hear its true rhythm. During the day, clocks shout over time's natural voice, deadlines fragment it, schedules cut it into sharp edges. At night, those interruptions fade. Time returns to its original shape, smooth, continuous, unbroken. That is why sleep feels expansive, why dreams feel long even when hours pass quickly. You are not leaving time, you are re-entering it. The universe measures time differently. There is no universal clock. Time passes differently near massive objects. It stretches near gravity. It thins where gravity weakens. Even satellites orbiting Earth experience time slightly faster than clocks on the ground. Time bends. This means time is not strict, it is responsive. It adapts. And if time itself can be flexible, there is no need for you to hold it tightly. Nothing important happens quickly. Creation favors patience. Stars form slowly from drifting clouds of gas. Planets gather grain by grain. Life evolves through countless small changes. Even endings take time. Mountains erode gradually. Oceans retreat inch by inch. Stars fade over billions of years. Suddenness belongs to human perception, not cosmic reality. This matters because your body understands this truth even when your thoughts forget it. Sleep is not a shutdown, it is alignment with the universe's pace. Why time softens as you relax. As your muscles loosen, your nervous system releases its grip on short-term urgency. The brain shifts from monitoring time to drifting within it. This is why moments blur before sleep, why minutes dissolve, why awareness spreads instead of focusing. Time does not disappear, it widens. You stop standing on it and start floating within it. Memory moves slower than clocks. Memories are not stored by seconds or hours, they are stored by feeling. A single moment can hold years of emotional weight. A long day can vanish without trace. This is proof that human experience already exists outside rigid time. Dreams understand this instinctively. In dreams, time folds. Scenes change without explanation. Years pass in seconds. This is not chaos. It is the mind returning to time's original flexibility. The night is a permission slip. Night gives permission to stop tracking. No appointments arrive while you sleep. No deadlines demand attention. No clocks need negotiation. The universe does not require productivity from you at this hour. It only requires that you exist. Time does not judge how you use it. It simply holds space for experience. Why sleep does not feel like loss. We do not fear losing time during sleep because intuitively we know time is not scarce. Morning always returns. This reliability mirrors cosmic cycles. Planets return to the same positions, seasons repeat, stars rise again. Nothing essential is lost during rest. Letting time carry you. You do not need to follow time forward. You can let it move beneath you, like floating on water, effortless. The night is not asking you to do anything with time. It is asking you to trust it. A thought before we continue. Time has been flowing for nearly 14 billion years. It will continue long after tonight ends. You are not responsible for it. You never were. In the next section, we will explore silence and why the universe contains far more quiet than sound, and why that quiet is not empty, but full. For now, allow time to widen around you. There is nowhere you need to arrive.
just rest inside the moment that already exists.
The universe is mostly quiet. If you could step outside everything for a moment, outside sound, outside language, outside thought, the first thing you would notice is not darkness, it is silence. Not the kind of silence that feels empty or tense, but a silence so wide it feels like space itself. Because the universe is not loud, it is overwhelmingly quiet. Sound is rare, silence is the default. Sound needs a medium, air, water, solid matter. Without something to vibrate, sound cannot exist, and most of the universe is empty. Between stars, there is almost nothing. Between galaxies, there is even less. No air, no pressure, no vibration, just distance. So when we imagine space as dramatic and noisy, we are borrowing human emotion and projecting it outward. In reality, the universe does not shout, it listens. Why silence feels uncomfortable at first? Human brains evolved to detect sound as survival information, a snap of a branch, a distant movement, a sudden change. Silence once meant uncertainty. So, at first, when sound fades, the mind searches, it scans, it waits, it tries to fill the space. This is why many people turn on music or background noise to sleep. Not because silence is bad, but because silence is unfamiliar. Yet familiarity is not the same as safety, and unfamiliar does not mean dangerous. Cosmic silence is not emptiness. Silence does not mean nothing is happening. Inside quiet, processes continue. Stars burn silently, planets orbit without sound, galaxies rotate in complete quiet. Immense energy moves without noise. This teaches us something important. Not all activity announces itself. Not all movement needs sound. Rest is not inactivity. The body understands quiet before the mind does. Your body does not need sound to function. Your heart beats without noise. Your cells divide in silence. Your breath moves quietly when relaxed. Silence is the body's natural environment. Noise is the interruption. When sound fades, your nervous system begins to recalibrate. Muscles release tension, breathing deepens, thoughts slow. This is not collapse, it is return. Why the deepest places are the quietest. The ocean depths are nearly silent. Caves echo only briefly before stillness returns. Space contains no sound at all. The deeper you go, the quieter it becomes. This pattern repeats everywhere. Surface activity is noisy. Depth is calm. Sleep is depth. Silence does not demand attention. Sound pulls the mind outward. Silence invites it inward. In silence, the mind stops reacting and starts drifting. This is why thoughts soften before sleep, not because you are losing control, but because control is no longer needed. Silence does not ask questions. It does not interrupt. It does not demand clarity. It allows things to blur. The fear of silence is the fear of stillness. Stillness reveals what motion hides. When everything stops, the mind becomes visible to itself. This can feel uncomfortable at first, but discomfort is not danger, it is adjustment. Just as eyes adjust to darkness, awareness adjusts to silence. And once adjusted, silence becomes spacious, gentle, supportive. The universe never breaks its own silence. Even cosmic events, Supernovae, collisions, explosions happen in complete silence. They look violent, they feel dramatic, but they produce no sound. This matters. It means the universe does not panic. Even in transformation, it remains calm. Silence as a container. Think of silence not as absence, but as a container, a wide bowl that holds everything without spilling. Inside silence, thoughts can float without urgency. Inside silence, memory loosens its grip. Inside silence, the body remembers how to rest. Silence does not erase, it holds. Why sleep arrives through quiet. Sleep cannot be forced. It arrives when conditions allow. Silence is one of those conditions. Not because silence causes sleep, but because it removes obstacles. When nothing pulls your attention outward, awareness naturally drifts inward, like a tide retreating. Letting silence stay unfilled. You do not need to fill silence. You do not need to explain it. You do not need to distract yourself from it. Let it remain as it is. The universe has been silent for billions of years. It knows how to hold you. A moment of alignment. Right now, somewhere beyond Earth's atmosphere, stars are burning without sound. Galaxies are moving without noise. Time is passing without ticking. And here you are, finally quiet enough to feel it. This is not isolation, it is connection. Darkness is not the enemy. Darkness has been misunderstood for a very long time. We speak of it as something to escape, something to fight, something to turn away from. But the universe does not agree with us. Because in the universe, darkness is not a failure of light, it is the natural state. Light is the exception. When you imagine the universe, you might picture stars scattered everywhere, glowing endlessly. But this image is misleading. Most of the universe is dark, not metaphorically, literally. Between stars, between planets, between galaxies, darkness stretches farther than light ever could. Light appears briefly, locally. Darkness is what surrounds it. This does not make darkness negative, it makes it foundational. Why humans learn to fear the dark. On Earth, darkness once meant vulnerability. Predators hunted at night. Vision was limited. Danger was harder to predict. So the human brain learned to associate darkness with risk. That association stayed, even though the danger is no longer there. Your nervous system still remembers an older world. The body relaxes in darkness. Despite what the mind believes, the body responds differently. In darkness, melatonin increases, cortisol decreases, muscles soften, breathing slows. Darkness is a signal. It tells the body, you don't need to watch anymore. Stars require darkness to exist. A star cannot shine without darkness around it. If everything were light, nothing would be visible. Contrast creates perception. Darkness gives shape to light. Without darkness, stars would disappear, not physically, but perceptually. They would blend into nothing. Darkness allows light to be seen. The night sky is a lesson. Look at the night sky. What dominates it? Not the stars, the space between them. The darkness is not empty, it is what makes the stars meaningful. This is not poetic exaggeration, it is physics. Sleep is a return to darkness. Sleep is not shutting down, it is moving inward.
The brain reduces sensory input. Vision fades, sound dulls, edges soften. You are not disappearing, you are returning to a quieter layer of awareness. Darkness is not loss, it is shelter.
Why we close our eyes to rest. Closing the eyes is not about avoiding the world. It is about simplifying it. Without visual input, the brain can finally rest from constant processing. Darkness reduces information, and reduced information allows restoration. Darkness is where growth happens. Seeds germinate underground. Roots grow in darkness. Cells divide without light. Life begins hidden. Even stars are born inside dark clouds of gas. Darkness is not the end of things. It is the beginning. The deepest parts of you are dark. Your thoughts have layers. The surface is noisy. Below that is quieter. And deeper still, there's something dark, calm, spacious. Not frightening, just unlit. You don't need to illuminate everything to understand it. Some things are meant to be felt, not seen. Darkness does not ask questions. Light reveals. Darkness allows. Light demands attention. Darkness offers rest. In darkness, you are not required to interpret or respond. You are allowed to exist without explanation. The universe sleeps in darkness. Most of the universe is not actively forming stars. Most galaxies are quiet. Most matter drifts slowly. Cosmic activity happens in waves, not constantly. Darkness is the pause between breaths. Night is not a threat. It is a cycle. Day turns into night. Night turns into day. Neither is permanent. Darkness is not an ending. It is a phase. Sleep works the same way. You are not going somewhere unknown. You are entering a familiar rhythm your body has followed since before language existed. Letting the dark be dark. You do not need to visualize anything right now. You do not need to imagine stars or planets. You can let everything fade. Darkness does not require effort. It requires permission. A gentle reframe. Instead of thinking, I am falling asleep, try thinking, I am being held. Held by darkness. Held by silence, held by the same conditions that allow the universe to exist. Stillness within darkness. In darkness, movement slows, thoughts stretch, time loosens. This is not because time has stopped, it is because your attention has softened. Before we move on, in the next section, we will explore distance and why vast distances are not empty separations, but gentle buffers. For now, let the darkness stay. You don't need to understand it. Your body already does. Distance is not loneliness. Distance feels lonely to the human mind. We are wired to measure closeness in meters, minutes, voices, touch. So when we hear the word distance, we imagine separation, absence, disconnection. But the universe tells a different story. In the universe, distance is not abandonment, it is protection. Why space is so vast? If stars were closer, planetary systems would be unstable. If galaxies were packed together, orbits would collapse. Distance is not waste, it is balance. The universe spreads itself out so that things can exist without destroying each other. Distance creates safety. Every planet survives because it is far enough. far enough from its star to avoid burning, close enough to avoid freezing. This precise distance is not luck, it is structure. Distance is how the universe maintains harmony. Loneliness is a human interpretation. When you feel alone, the feeling is real, but the interpretation may not be. You are not isolated in space. You are positioned within it. There is a difference. Even the empty places are not empty. Between galaxies lies intergalactic space. It looks empty, but it contains radiation, particles, dark matter, quantum activity. Emptiness is an illusion created by scale. Nothing is truly alone. Silence is not absence of sound. Silence is space between vibrations. Music needs silence. Breathing needs pauses. Sleep needs quiet. Distance is the silence between cosmic notes. Why the night feels vast? At night, familiar landmarks disappear. Vision loses reference points. The sky opens. This triggers a sense of smallness, but smallness is not danger. Smallness is relief. You do not need to fill the space. Modern life pressures us to fill every gap: noise, content, movement, thought. The universe does the opposite. It leaves room. Space allows meaning. If everything were close, nothing would matter. If everything were loud, nothing could be heard. Distance gives significance. Because something far away must travel to reach you, and what arrives has endured. Light travels because distance exists. The light you see tonight crossed millions of years, not because it was forced to, but because there was space to cross. Distance allows connection to unfold slowly. Your thoughts need distance too. When thoughts are too close, they overwhelm. When emotions crowd each other, they confuse. Sleep requires mental distance, not pushing thoughts away, letting them drift farther apart.
Gravity works across distance. Gravity does not need touch. It does not need proximity. It reaches quietly, persistently. Distance does not weaken connection. It defines it. The body understands this at night. As you rest, heart rate slows, muscles release, awareness widens. Your body is not withdrawing, it is expanding into space. You are not alone in the dark. Every star you see exists in darkness, yet none are lost. They shine because they are surrounded by space. Darkness and distance do not erase them, they support them. Why sleep feels like drifting. As consciousness loosens, you may feel weightless, spacious, unanchored. This is not losing control. It is entering a larger field of awareness, the same one the universe exists within. Nothing is rushing you. Distance removes urgency. There is no deadline in space, no pressure, no speed required. Stars take millions of years to form. Galaxies take billions to change. You are allowed to slow down. Being small is not being lost. In space, small things matter. Planets, atoms, moments. Scale does not equal importance. It equals context. The night holds you gently. You are not falling into nothing. You are settling into something wide enough to carry you. Distance does not separate you from rest. It creates room for it. Let the mind stretch. You do not need to focus now. Let thoughts float farther apart. Let awareness widen. There is no edge you need to reach. Sleep is not leaving. Sleep is staying. Staying with yourself without effort, without narration, without judgment. A final thought for this section. If distance were dangerous, the universe would not survive. If darkness were hostile,
stars would not shine. If stillness were wrong, sleep would not heal. Everything you are entering now is natural, ancient, safe. As this section ends, you don't need to follow the next words closely. They are only here to accompany you, like stars in a wide sky. You don't need to count them, just let them be.
There are places in the universe where nothing seems to happen. No explosions, no blazing light, no spinning storms of color or violent motion, just space. Not empty in the way we usually imagine emptiness, but quiet, wide, patient, between stars, between planets, between entire galaxies. This is where we begin, because the silence between worlds is not absence, it is presence without pressure. Right now, wherever you are listening from, there is space between things too, between one breath and the next, between one thought and the next, between the moment you are awake and the moment you are slowly drifting. You don't have to do anything to reach it. You are already there. When we think about space, we often imagine the dramatic parts, the bright suns, the swirling galaxies, the fiery births and explosive endings. But most of the universe is not loud. Most of it is still. If you were to travel outward from Earth, past the moon, past the planets, beyond the edge of the solar system, you would eventually reach a region where the sun becomes just another distant point. And then another, and another, until the stars themselves grow thin, until the distances stretch so wide that light takes years, centuries, millennia just to cross the gap. In those regions, nothing rushes you. Nothing demands attention. Nothing expects a response. And strangely, that kind of silence is not unsettling. It is relieving. There is a common fear humans carry about silence. We associate it with loneliness, with being forgotten, with something missing. But cosmic silence is different. It is not the silence of abandonment. It is the silence of scale. A silence that exists not because something failed to happen, but because there is simply room. Room for motion. Room for time. Room for you to soften. Imagine drifting slowly between stars, not falling, not traveling fast, just suspended. There is no up or down here, no direction you must face, no destination pulling at you. Your body feels light, not because gravity disappeared, but because nothing is demanding effort from it. Your muscles are not bracing, your thoughts are not solving. Your awareness is wide but calm. This is the silence between worlds, and it does not judge you for stopping. On Earth, silence is rare. There is always something humming, something ticking, something moving. Even at night, the planet itself never truly rests. Oceans shift, wind moves through leaves, cities glow quietly from below. But in deep space, silence is not a pause between sounds, it is the default state. Stars are the interruption. If you were floating there now, you would not hear anything. Sound needs medium, air, water, matter. Between worlds, there is almost none, and yet nothing feels wrong. Your mind, so used to filling gaps, begins to slow. Thoughts don't stop, they simply lose urgency. They drift instead of collide. They appear and then dissolve without needing resolution. This is not emptiness. This is rest without effort. There is something important about realizing this. The universe does not rush. Galaxies take hundreds of millions of years to turn once. Stars live for billions of years before changing form. Light itself is patient, crossing distances we can barely name.
Nothing out there is asking you to hurry, and nothing is asking you to be anything other than what you are in this moment. If you feel your breathing right now, you might notice something subtle. There is a small space at the end of each breath, a quiet pause. You are not inhaling, you are not exhaling, just existing. That pause is not a mistake. It is not wasted time. It is a natural silence, the same kind that fills the space between stars, and your body already understands it. The silence between worlds teaches something gently, that existence does not need constant activity to be valid. Stars do not burn faster to prove they matter. Galaxies do not spin quicker to stay relevant. They simply continue at their own pace, held by gravity, by structure, by time. And so are you. There is a reason people find space calming, even when they don't understand why. It offers perspective without confrontation. Your worries do not disappear, they simply shrink, not because they are unimportant, but because they are no longer the only thing in view. In the vast silence, there is room for everything: your past, your tiredness, your unfinished thoughts. You do not need to organize them. The universe does not require order from you. It holds chaos and calm equally well. If you imagine the space between galaxies, truly imagine it, you begin to sense how gentle it is, not cold in an aggressive way, not dark in a threatening way, just neutral, open, unbothered, a place where nothing presses in on you. And slowly, your nervous system recognizes this. The shoulders release a fraction, the jaw loosens, the space behind the eyes softens. Your body is responding not to instruction, but to permission. You may notice that as silence stretches, your thoughts become less sharp, edges blur slightly. This is not losing control. This is the beginning of rest. The brain, like the universe, has regions of high activity and regions of quiet. Sleep does not arrive by force. It arrives by widening the quiet regions until they overlap. In the silence between worlds, nothing needs to be solved. No one is watching. No clock is counting. Even time itself feels different. Not gone, but unimportant. Moments don't stack. They float. And here is something rarely said. The universe is not loud because it is powerful. It is powerful because it is calm. The greatest forces act slowly. Gravity does not shout. It whispers continuously over immense distances, and stars obey. As you lie here listening, you are doing something deeply natural. You are aligning with a pace that existed long before humans learned to measure time, a pace where rest is not earned, it is assumed. You don't need to fall asleep yet. You don't need to try. Just remain here in the wide, unpressured silence and allow your mind to follow the same rule as the universe. Move only when it feels natural.
Silence is often misunderstood. We think of it as something that happens when sound stops. But in the universe, silence is what exists before sound ever begins. It is the background condition. Stars are born inside it. Planets drift within it. Light crosses it patiently, never rushed, never interrupted. Silence is not the absence of life. It is the environment that allows life to move without friction. Between worlds, there is no urgency, no alerts, no expectations, no need to react. And because nothing is asking anything from you, something inside begins to soften without permission. The mind stops scanning for threat. The body stops preparing for action. This is not because you decided to relax. It happens because there is nothing left to defend against. Human brains evolved to notice change, movement, sound, contrast. Silence confuses that system at first. The brain asks, did something go wrong? Did I miss something? Should I be paying attention? But when silence continues, when nothing follows, the alarm system realizes there is no danger. and then it disengages. This is why deep quiet feels strange at first, and then safe, and then heavy in the best way, like sinking into warm water where your body no longer has to hold itself upright. In the silence between worlds, nothing is incomplete. There is no sense of almost, no tension of waiting for the next thing. Events unfold on scale so large that anticipation loses meaning. A star does not worry about becoming a star. A galaxy does not rush toward its future collision. They simply continue along paths written by gravity and time. Your body understands this instinctively. Long before language, long before schedules, the nervous system learned how to rest by not being needed. Silence recreates that condition, not by force, not by instruction, but by removing demand. Imagine floating again, but this time notice something new. You are not alone in the silence. You are surrounded by it, held by it, the way water holds a swimmer without gripping. The silence is not empty. It has texture, a softness that presses gently back when you release into it. This is why people describe space as peaceful, not because it is kind, but because it is indifferent in a way that feels relieving. Nothing in deep space is judging you. Nothing cares whether you are productive or useful or improving. You are allowed to exist without justification. On Earth, stillness is often suspicious. Stillness means something stopped. Silence means something ended. But between worlds, silence means continuity. It means things are proceeding exactly as expected.
There is something deeply comforting about realizing that the universe continues perfectly well without your effort. Breathing continues without thought. Gravity continues without permission. Light continues without witnesses. And that means you can rest without consequence. If your thoughts are becoming less distinct now, that is not a failure of focus. It is the beginning of the mind's night cycle. Thoughts are loosening their edges. Connections are softening. Language itself becomes less important. This is natural. Sleep does not arrive through clarity. It arrives through diffusion. The silence between worlds is a place where nothing has to make sense. Meaning is optional here. Awareness widens instead of sharpens. You don't need to follow every sentence. You don't need to remember anything. Just let the rhythm carry you, like light carried across space without knowing its destination. There is an illusion we carry that rest must be earned, that only after effort can stillness be allowed. The universe disagrees. Most of it is still by default. Motion is the exception. Stars burn, but most of space does not. Planets orbit, but the space between orbits remains calm. Even galaxies, massive and ancient, are surrounded by vast regions of near-perfect quiet. The loudest things are rare. The quiet is constant. This matters more than we realize, because the brain finds safety in consistency, and nothing is more consistent than cosmic silence. If you feel yourself sinking further into the bed, if your breathing has slowed without instruction, if your body feels heavier but not tense, that is not you losing awareness. That is awareness widening until it no longer needs to hold shape. The silence between worlds is not a destination, it is a state. One your body remembers, one your nervous system recognizes, one your mind slips into naturally when nothing interrupts it. And here is the most important part. You are not disappearing. You are not fading. You are going nowhere. You are being held by the same rules that hold galaxies together, held by gravity, by rhythm, by time that does not rush. Soon, thoughts will come less often. When they do, they won't ask for answers. They'll pass like distant stars sliding slowly across a wide, dark sky. There is nothing you need to do next. No transition required. No decision necessary.
Just allow the silence to remain larger than your thoughts. Silence deepens in layers. At first, it feels like a pause. Then it becomes a space. And eventually, it turns into a presence. Not something you hear, something you rest inside. There is a moment, it often happens without warning, when the mind stops asking where this is going. That question fades first. What comes next? What am I supposed to feel? How long has this been? Those questions loosen and drift away. Not because you answered them, but because they no longer seem necessary. This is the point where the body takes over. Breathing finds its own rhythm. Muscles release small tensions you didn't know they were holding. The jaw softens. The space behind the eyes widens. These are ancient signals. They mean you are not being watched. You are not required. You can let go now. Between worlds, there is no audience, no expectation of performance. Even stars burn without witnesses. Even galaxies collide in silence. The universe does not announce itself. It unfolds privately. There is relief in realizing this, because so much of waking life is shaped by being perceived, being evaluated, being measured, being compared. Here, none of that applies. There is no reference point, no scale, no direction you're supposed to face. If a thought arises now, notice its texture. It is softer than before, less sharp, almost translucent. Thoughts here do not push, they float. And if you don't engage them, they dissolve on their own. This is how rest actually works. Not through control, not through effort, but through the removal of resistance. In space, objects move until something stops them. In the absence of friction, motion continues effortlessly. The mind behaves the same way. When friction disappears, when pressure fades, the mind drifts into its natural resting orbit. You may feel a subtle sense of expansion, as if awareness is no longer contained neatly behind the eyes. This is common. Awareness is not shrinking, it is spreading out, becoming less focused on any single point. Between worlds, nothing needs your attention. Nothing competes for priority. This allows awareness to relax its grip, to stop pointing, to simply exist. There is a quiet confidence in this state. Not confidence as in certainty, but confidence as in stability. The feeling that nothing is about to collapse, that nothing urgent is approaching, that the present moment is sufficient. If sleep comes now, it will not feel like falling. It will feel like being absorbed, like mist dissolving into a larger sky. And if sleep does not come yet, that is also fine. This space does not demand outcomes. It is not a gateway you must pass through. It is a field you can rest in. The silence between worlds has always existed, long before you listened, long before this moment. It does not arrive. It is revealed when noise steps aside. You are not entering something new. You are remembering something old. Notice the weight of your body again. Not heaviness, not pressure, but a grounded presence. The feeling being fully supported without needing to adjust. The universe carries far heavier things than you. Stars, nebulae, entire galaxies, and it does so effortlessly. You are not a burden. Thoughts may now appear farther apart. Gaps widen. Those gaps are not empty, they are spacious. And spaciousness is where rest lives. If you could look at your mind from a distance right now, it would look less like a machine and more like a slow-moving landscape. Clouds drifting, light changing, no sharp edges. Nothing is waiting for you on the other side of this. No reveal, no conclusion, just continuation. And continuation does not require effort.
It happens by default. Stay here, or drift further. Both are correct.
Silence is no longer something around you. It has become something within you. Not filling space, not occupying it, simply existing. At this stage, even the idea of listening begins to soften. You are no longer receiving words. The words are just passing through, like air moving through an open window. The body understands this place well. It recognizes it. Long before language existed, long before names were given to things, the nervous system learned how to rest here. This is not learned behavior. It is remembered behavior. Notice how the breath behaves now. Not deep, not shallow. Natural, uncounted, unmanaged. Each inhale arrives on its own. Each exhale leaves without instruction. There is no one in charge of breathing, and yet it continues perfectly. This is important because it reminds you of something simple and powerful. Life does not require supervision. Between worlds, effort disappears first, then intention, then even identity loosens its grip. You do not need to know who you are here. You do not need a story. Stories belong to motion. This space is still. You may notice moments where awareness feels very wide, followed by moments where it fades almost completely. This is not losing consciousness. This is approaching rest. The edges of awareness blur, and that is safe. Nothing bad happens in the blur. Nothing breaks. Nothing goes missing. Think of the space between two thoughts, that quiet interval. At first, it seems small, but as you stop chasing the next thought, the interval stretches, like a pause that realizes it doesn't need to end. In that pause, there is no commentary, no judgment, no internal narrator explaining what is happening, just presence. Between worlds, there is no observer watching the observer. That loop dissolves. Self-awareness softens into simple awareness. This is where tension truly leaves, not when muscles relax, but when the mind stops monitoring itself. You might feel a subtle warmth, or a gentle coolness, or nothing at all. All are signs of release. The brain in this state shifts rhythms, slower waves, longer cycles, the kind associated with deep rest, with the threshold of sleep. But sleep is not the goal. Sleep is just one possible outcome. The real goal is permission. Permission to stop holding yourself together. Between worlds, there is no urgency. Time does not pull forward. The future loosens its grip. The past stops replaying. Everything compresses gently into now. And now is quiet. Imagine standing in deep space. No up, no down, no direction, only distance, only silence. Not empty silence, but silence full of balance. Nothing here accelerates, nothing decays, nothing rushes. Your thoughts, if they appear, now feel optional. You can let them finish, or not. They no longer insist on completion. This is the kind of rest that does not end abruptly. It transitions, gradually, naturally. If sleep comes, it will come softly, not like falling off an edge, but like setting something down. And if you remain awake, you remain peaceful. Both states belong here. The silence between worlds does not demand that you choose. It holds both equally. Let your awareness rest where it wants. Do not guide it. Do not follow it. Just allow it to settle. This space will remain even after the words fade, even after sound disappears,
even after attention dissolves, because this space is not created by words. Words only point toward it. And now there is nothing left to point. Stay, or drift, or sleep. Everything is already happening exactly as it should.
Light is usually described as something without weight, fast, effortless, always moving. But that is only half the truth. There is a weight to light, not a physical heaviness, but a presence, a quiet pressure that rests on everything it touches. Right now, light is touching you, even with your eyes closed, even in the dark. Light exists beyond vision. It moves through space, through walls, through atmosphere, through time, and it arrives gently. You do not feel it as impact. You feel it as warmth, as softness, as the subtle sense that you are here. Between worlds, light slows down, not because physics change, but because perception does. Imagine light not as a beam, but as a slow snowfall, each particle drifting, no urgency, no destination, just descent. The body responds to this image instinctively. Muscles release not because they are told to, but because they recognize safety. Notice how your shoulders rest now, not pulled down, not forced, just allowed. Light touches the skin. The skin does not react, it receives. This is the difference between effort and allowance. Effort tightens, allowance opens. The nervous system understands light as information, not brightness, not color, but signal. Signal that says you are not in danger. That signal has been arriving since before language, since before memory, since before identity. The brain, when bathed in steady, gentle signal, lets go of vigilance. It no longer scans, it no longer predicts, it no longer braces. This is when the inner weight drops. Not suddenly, gradually, like a coat sliding off the shoulders without being noticed. You may feel heavier now. This is not sinking, this is grounding. Sleep is often described as drifting upward or falling down, but true rest feels like settling, like dust returning to still air. The weight of light presses softly against the mind, not compressing, stabilizing. Thoughts, if they appear, feel slower. They stretch, they lose sharp edges, they dissolve before finishing. This is not confusion, this is unnecessary clarity fading. You do not need clarity here. Clarity belongs to action. This place belongs to rest. Imagine the light around you dimming further, not disappearing, becoming diffuse, like twilight without a sun. There is no source to look toward. The light is everywhere equally. No shadows, no contrast. In this kind of light, nothing stands out. And because nothing stands out, nothing demands attention. Attention relaxes. It no longer points, it spreads. The mind, relieved of focus, enters a state similar to floating, but not floating in space, floating in support. This is where the body often forgets its edges. Hands feel distant, legs feel vague. The sense of where you end softens. This is safe, this is common. This is a sign that the boundary between effort and rest is dissolving. Light continues to arrive, but now it feels older, slower, as if it has traveled a very long distance to reach you. Some light has. Starlight reaching Earth tonight began its journey before you were born, before many lives were lived, before many stories ended. That light arrives without expectation. It does not need to be seen. It simply arrives, just like sleep. Sleep does not demand that you try. It arrives when resistance ends. The weight of light teaches the body this lesson, not through instruction, through sensation. You may notice brief gaps, moments where nothing is registering, no thought, no image,
no feeling. These gaps are not absence, they are thresholds. Doorways the mind steps through without needing to announce itself. If you cross one, you may not notice, and that is perfect. The body already knows how to cross. It has done this every night, for years. There is no performance here, no success or failure, only a gradual leaning toward stillness. Light continues to hold you, not brightly, not dramatically, just enough. Enough to feel safe, enough to feel present, enough to let go. And if sleep comes now, it will not feel like leaving. It will feel like staying. Staying with something quiet, something steady, something that does not ask you to be anything at all. The weight of light remains, even as awareness fades, even as words lose meaning, even as the night deepens. You do not need to follow the light. It already knows where you are.
Time is usually something we move through. Minutes pass, hours follow, days line up one after another. Direction is built into the way we think about it. Forward, backward, before, after. But there is another kind of time, a kind without direction, a kind that does not pull you forward or push you back, a kind that simply exists. You have been in it before. You may not remember clearly, but your body does. It appears in moments when you stop checking, when you are not waiting for something to end or anticipating something to begin. Time without direction does not ask, how long? It asks, are you still here? Right now, you are. And because you are, time loosens its grip. Notice how difficult it would be to say exactly what minute this is, or how long you have been listening. That uncertainty is not distraction, it is transition. The mind, when no longer measuring, stops dividing experience into pieces. Without division, moments stretch, not longer, just wider. This is the time sleep lives in, not scheduled, not tracked, not counted. Sleep does not begin at a precise second. It emerges gradually, like fog. Fog does not move towards you, it appears around you. In time without direction, thoughts no longer line up. They drift, overlap, fade mid-sentence. You may begin a thought and forget where it was going. That is not loss, that is release. Memory becomes soft here, not erased, unimportant. The body feels this shift first. Breathing deepens not by effort, but by absence of urgency. Heartbeats find their own rhythm, not fast, not slow, just regular. Time without direction has no pace, so the body chooses one that feels safest. There is no rush to arrive anywhere, because arrival does not exist here. If you try to imagine the future now, it feels distant, blurry, unnecessary. The past also loosens. Events lose sharp edges. Stories dissolve into impressions. What remains is sensation, weight, warmth, stillness. This is the oldest experience of time humans have, before clocks, before calendars, before language. Early humans did not live by hours. They lived by light and dark, by hunger and rest, by wakefulness and sleep. Time was not measured, it was felt. Night did not signal productivity ending, it signaled surrender. You are entering that ancient rhythm now, not consciously, naturally. In this rhythm, nothing is late, nothing is early, nothing is missed. The nervous system stops scanning for cues, stops preparing, stops defending. This is when the mind becomes spacious, not empty, uncrowded. Thoughts float through without hooking, images appear and vanish, sounds lose edges. You may hear the room differently, or not at all. This is not fading,
It is widening awareness until it dissolves. Time without direction does not collapse suddenly. It opens slowly, like a door left ajar. You may feel moments where awareness dips, then returns, then dips again. These are crossings, the mind stepping briefly into sleep and stepping back, testing the ground. There is no need to stabilize, no need to hold on. The body already trusts this place. It recognizes the signs. If a thought appears like, "I should be asleep by now," notice how out of place it feels. That thought belongs to directed time. It has no authority here. Here there is no by now. There is only now. And even that word feels unnecessary. Time without direction feels circular, or maybe endless, or maybe non-existent. Descriptions fail because language relies on sequence, and sequence does not apply here. If you try to count breaths now, you may lose track. Good. Counting is unnecessary. Breathing will continue without you, just as sleep will arrive without instruction. The mind is allowed to rest from being a guide, from steering, from deciding. Imagine time as a wide, dark lake. No current, no shoreline, no reflection. You are not swimming in it. You are floating. Floating does not require movement, only trust. The body knows how to float. It has known since infancy. That memory is still present, even if the mind forgot. As time loses direction, identity loosens, not erased, backgrounded. You are not your name here, not your role, not your plans. You are simply a body resting in awareness. This is why sleep feels restorative, not because time passes, but because direction disappears. When direction returns in the morning, it will feel gentle, gradual, like dawn. But for now, direction is unnecessary. Let the mind wander without destination. Let images blur. Let sentences end halfway. Time will hold you, even without a clock, even without intention. And if sleep arrives quietly now, you may not notice the moment, because in time without direction, there is no moment to mark. There is only rest.
On Mars, the concept of home is different. Home is not a place. Home is not a building. Home is not a view. On Mars, home is a functioning system, a living space, a pressure balance, a temperature line, a breathing rhythm. On Mars, home is not romantic, but it is real, and this reality fundamentally changes one's perception of home. On Earth, home is often defined by emotions, memories, sounds, smells. On Mars, home is continuity. Home must work. Home must protect. Home must not fail. This transforms one's sense of belonging as well. On Mars, belonging is tied not to soil, but to rhythm. Checking at the same time every day, living in the same order every day, starting with the same silence every day. On Mars, home is a totality of habits, and this simplifies the way humans take root. Taking root on Mars is not about spreading, it's about deepening. Less space, more attention. On Mars, home is not a refuge, it is a point of balance. That's why a person living on Mars carries their home with them, even when they leave it. Because home is no longer a place, but a state of harmony. And this awareness remains with a person, even when they return to Earth. Mars does not teach home, it teaches being home. At some point, Mars ceases to be a planet. It is no longer a surface, no longer a coordinate, no longer a destination. Mars becomes a state of being. For the human mind, this transformation happens silently. It goes unnoticed, unannounced.
But one morning or one evening, a person feels this. Mars is no longer out there. Mars is now within me. This is the least discussed but most lasting outcome of Mars journeys, because Mars is not a place you visit and return from. Mars is an experience you internalize. What is remembered about Mars is often not the landscape, not the crimson horizons, not the dust storms. What is remembered is the state of stillness. On Mars, a person truly stops for the first time because rushing has no meaning. Mars does not wait for you, but it does not chase you either. And this dissolves one's conditioned perception of speed from Earth. On Mars, time does not exist to motivate you, nor does it exist to frighten you. On Mars, time simply flows. On Earth, a person constantly proves themselves, even when silent, even when alone, even when asleep. You must be something, you must arrive somewhere, you must leave a mark. On Mars, this impulse becomes meaningless, because Mars does not applaud you, Mars does not judge you, Mars does not measure you. On Mars, everything you do simply becomes done. This creates a great relaxation in the human mind, because for the first time, this becomes possible. I don't have to be anything. This sentence is revolutionary for human psychology. On Mars, failure is ordinary, so is success. Both are the same to Mars. And this equality breaks down the harsh hierarchies within oneself. On Mars, a person does not lift themselves up, nor do they push themselves down. They simply settle. On Mars, there is fear, but there is no panic. These are not the same thing. Fear produces knowledge. Panic corrupts thought. Mars does not produce panic because Mars does not surprise. Mars is dangerous, but it is consistent. This consistency changes one's relationship with fear. On Mars, fear is not something to run from, but a signal to listen to. Be careful here. Slow down here. Stop here. On Mars, fear does not shout, it whispers. And for the first time, a person does not have to suppress their fear. Mars teaches the natural state of fear. This is why a person returning from Mars reacts less to the noisy fears of Earth, because Mars has taught this: real danger is silent, false danger is loud. On Mars, time does not contract, it expands. On Earth, time is a line. On Mars, time is a field. A day does not resemble a week does not resemble a month, but none of them rush you. On Mars, time does not push you forward, nor does it pull you back. It stands beside you. And this dissolves the hostility one has developed toward time. On Mars, you do not race against time, you harmonize with it. This harmony seeps into one's life on Earth as well. Someone returning from Mars knows that not every night must end in haste, that not every morning must begin something either. Mars teaches that time is merely a framework. You fill it or you don't. Both are possible. Mars is solitary, but it does not produce loneliness. This paradox is Mars's most powerful lesson. On Mars, solitude is not a deficiency, it is an intensity. Being alone on Mars is not being abandoned, it is having your attention undivided. This is why on Mars, a person truly hears their inner voice for the first time, and that voice is often not as harsh as we think. On Mars, the inner voice does not shout, it does not demand, it does not judge, it simply tells. Mars is one of the rare places where a person can make peace with their own mind. And then, the return comes. But this return is not a severance. You do not return from Mars. You carry Mars with you. Mars becomes a silent reference point within a person. When Earth is noisy, Mars is remembered. When the mind scatters, Mars is remembered. When life accelerates, Mars is remembered, and a person passes this sentence through himself. I come from a slower place. This sentence changes one's relationship with life. Mars does not teach escape. Mars does not teach endurance. Mars teaches attunement. And perhaps this is why Mars will never truly be conquered, because Mars is not a place to be taken. Mars is a state to be learned. Now, if your eyes have grown heavy, if words have blurred, if thoughts are losing their clarity, this is a good sign. The Mars narrative does not end here. It simply merges with silence. Mars is no longer a story. It is a background. Breathe in, slowly out. Time is spacious. The universe is calm, and you do not have to arrive anywhere. Good night. If you're still here, you're probably no longer listening. Words may not be reaching you. They're just passing by. And this is exactly as it should be. Because at this point, we are no longer learning information. We are no longer trying to understand things. We are simply attuning to the rhythm of the universe. The solar system is much quieter than we think. Planets do not collide. Stars do not shout. Space does not panic. Everything happens in its own time. Think of a satellite orbiting a planet. Without ever rushing, without ever stopping, it has been doing the same movement for billions of years. It has no goal, no finish line. It simply orbits. For the human mind, this is a very foreign thing because we are used to doing everything for a result, to arrive somewhere, to become something, to achieve something. But in space, there is no such concept. Mars never feels it has completed its day. Saturn does not find its rings beautiful enough. Earth does not tell itself, I did good work today. They simply exist. And perhaps sleep is the moment when humans come closest to this. When you sleep, you are not achieving anything. You are not arriving anywhere. No one is watching you. You are simply existing. In the solar system, time does not resemble the clocks we use. A day for a planet can be our years. An orbit can last as long as an entire civilization's history. And this slowness is not a flaw. This is the speed the universe has chosen. Now, I want you to notice this. Nothing has to be completed. No thought has to be finished. No emotion has to be resolved. Planets do not solve problems. Stars do not make plans. Space does not try to control. And yet, everything is in its place. Right now, you may notice that your breathing is automatic. You are not managing it. It is simply happening, just like the solar system. Everything is moving according to its own inner law. Mars is still cold. Jupiter is still large. Saturn still has its rings. None of it depends on whether you are awake or not. And this creates a strange sense of relief, because the world turns while you rest. The sun rises while you sleep. The planets